And now it's time for something delicious.
Science and atoms and clever things that I'm doing. What?
Tell me why! Welcome to Tell Me Why, where we invite a sharp elementary school student to ask us a big question or teach us something important about the world. This week we're joined by 9-year-old Alex Walters, a budding chef who will do his best to improve my skills in the kitchen. You've got an uphill battle there. Alex, you started cooking when you were just 8. That was a whole year ago, right? Do you remember the first thing that you made? What got you excited in cooking, Alex?
I've always loved it, but I got a little more serious about it about a year ago, when I was 8, and I took this class at Schoolcraft Arts Culinary Institute of.
Wow. What have you got in front of you, Alex?
This is a dish that I made earlier today. It's a semolina pasta ravioli with béarnaise sauce.
That's something that I would never be able to make. How did you do it? I presume that you didn't make the pasta yourself.
Actually, the dough I did with a nice semolina flour I like, and just eggs, semolina flour, water, salt, and a little extra virgin olive oil.
It takes forever to make pasta dough. I can't believe that you did that. When did you start? How long did it take you?
A few hours, maybe 2.
I once tried to make pasta dough. It took me about 11 hours. But then again, I'm the kind of guy who knows how to boil an egg, roast s'mores over an open fire, and defrost a bagel, and that's about it. Do we have some images of Alex cooking? I think we've got some photos that you sent my producer from earlier today. Let's just take a look at some of those, and you can tell us what they are. Here we are. There's you. Is that your home kitchen, or is that at you at school?
That is actually at my birthday party, the Mireplot Cooking School in Royal Oak, Michigan.
That's amazing. Lucky for you, we actually have an expert here in the studio to answer some of your questions. Sitting here with me is the poet laureate of the wok, the stir-fry guru, the wok evangelist. I'm talking about none other than celebrated author of Chinese cookbooks, Grace Young. Grace, thank you so much for coming by and jumping in on this conversation. Do you have any tips or any advice for Alex?
Well, it sounds like Alex is a pretty experienced cook. He might be able to teach me something about the wok.
You can certainly teach me.
So you got a wok for your birthday, Alex?
Yeah.
And do you have it around? Like, what kind of wok did you get?
It looks like the one that's in front of you right there.
Really?
Carbon steel, I believe.
Oh my God. Wow, I was a little nervous because, a lot of people buy the wrong wok and they buy a non-stick wok or stainless steel, but obviously you have natural wok instincts.
My wok, I am ashamed to say, is a non-stick. Is it? No, it's not non-stick. Sorry, it's not non-stick, but it's stainless steel and everything always gets stuck to it and it doesn't conduct heat very well. I have a question for you. I was making a stir-fry the other night. I'm joking about not being at all able to cook.
Right.
I was making a stir-fry the other night and it was just a little bit too watery because the liquids would accumulate in the bottom of the pan, and if you're used to using a wider-based pan,
right,
then they evaporate a little bit more. How do you avoid that?
So Wok Doctor will give you therapy right now.
Yes.
First, you have to start with the right pan. Has to be carbon steel like Alex has, because that's natural nonstick. So the more you cook with it, it's like a cast iron skillet. It acquires a natural nonstick surface. So first you gotta dump your stainless steel wok.
All right.
You have to buy a carbon steel. And then I brought this to show you. All you have to do is scrub it initially with this kind of stainless steel scrubber with, detergent, rinse
Sure.
it, and then you have to season it. And you season it by just stir-frying some scallions and ginger in it. So have you done that, Alex? Have you seasoned your new wok?
I used scallions and ginger in my stir-fry. It was in the one that I made. I did not just season it.
So when you get a brand new carbon steel wok, you have to what they call cure it, and that means after you clean it, you season it with scallions and ginger. So scallions and ginger you'll use as a seasoning for flavoring recipes, but for just starting the wok off. And then as to your question about a watery stir fry, most of the time you haven't preheated the wok. Did you preheat it?
I did.
Okay, and so you test the temperature to make sure it's hot enough by flicking a drop of water, and if it evaporates within a second or two, it's hot enough. Then you add your oil. Did you use a high smoking point oil?
Well, I think I may be coming to another problem here, which is that I don't have a gas stove.
Oh.
And my electric stove just isn't hot enough to get to that.
But that's why I brought my show and tell wok. You have to get a flat bottom wok.
Ooh.
So the traditional wok is round bottom, but with a round bottom wok, you have to put on a wok ring. And the moment you put on a wok ring, then it's too high from the heat. So a flat bottom is only like 5 or 6 inches of flat bottom, and it will get hotter. And then you add your high smoking point oil. And then the most important
And what
thing
are
is
high smoking point oils? What are they?
peanut, grapeseed, canola,
Yep.
never extra virgin olive oil. And then the biggest mistake people make is they add too much food, and if they add vegetables, they're wet. And that's what causes the watery vegetables. So that when you add the vegetables, if the wok is hot enough, you should hear a sizzle sound. If there's no sizzle sound, you didn't preheat it enough. But if you heat it properly, but you add too much where they're wet ingredients, you'll hear the
Right.
and then it dies.
So you really can't use frozen vegetables in a
Never,
stir fry.
ever. No.
Alex, have you tried using your stir fry yet?
Yes, I did make one stir fry.
What did you make, Alex?
I made a stir fry with instead of rice and noodles, mashed quinoa.
What did you
You
make?
used quinoa?
And it turned out really well.
Wow.
A quinoa stir fry. What else was in it apart from quinoa? Was it vegetables?
And then I put chopped peanuts. I did red bell peppers, carrots, scallions, ginger, garlic, and onion.
What are your favorite types of cuisine, Alex?
I love Italian. It's what I cook most of the time, as you can see from my dish. And maybe Korean. I love Korean food.
We've got the pictures now that I was referring to earlier, which are of you cooking pasta earlier today. Here you are. That is, I guess, in your kitchen. That's you making that ravioli, is it?
Yeah, cutting it with this little cutter tool I have.
That's cool. What's in the filling again?
In the filling, I used 2 meats. I used beef and pork, and then I put in mirepoix, celery, carrots, and onion. And I seasoned it with salt, pepper, and coriander seed, ground.
Alex, it looks like that lunch is getting cold. You're going to have to take a bite of that at some point, buddy.
Okay. You can bite of it.
Here we go. Alex taking a bite of the homemade lunch made from fresh pasta dough. How is it, Alex?
Really good.
Okay, you can just finish eating that entire thing. Are there any Asian cuisines that you like Thai or Chinese, that you'd like some pointers on how to do them in a wok? While we've got Grace here.
Actually, I had one question about the wok.
Sure. The mysterious hand of napkin just enters frame.
I was gonna say, with the oil,
Yeah.
you should use how much? Is there like a measurement to use how much of the oil to the amount of whatever you're putting in the stir fry?
Great question.
Yeah, great question. Normally when you stir fry, I'm adding about 1 or 2 tablespoons of oil. So what you might want to do is measure it ahead of time and put it into a little cup so that once the wok is hot, you don't want to be doing too many things last minute. And that way, the moment you test it with the water and it evaporates, then you can take that little cup and swirl it in. And when you add the oil, make sure you pour it along the side of the wok, and then you pick up the wok and sort of tilt it to make sure the oil coats the bottom of the pan. And then you add whatever, your garlic, your ginger, your vegetables, and start stir frying.
You should have a mise en place ready.
Exactly. Everything should be mise en place. You can't be chopping something in the middle of stir frying, and you can't use your cell phone or text message.
I love that, Alex. Alex, explain what a mise en place is to people who don't know what mise en place is, because I was probably 16 before I found out what a mise en place was.
Usually it's where you have everything pre-chopped in a little container, so you can just throw everything in without having to chop as you go.
Right. It's the workstation, right? The
Right.
ability to have everything at hand the moment you start cooking.
And that's an essential for stir frying. Can't do anything last minute.
That's amazing. Alex, any final questions or thoughts for Grace?
I was gonna say, what kind of liquid should you use other than the oil to cook your quinoa, rice, pasta, noodles? Should you put in like broth, stock, or how should you get it to cook?
That's a great question. I mean, of course, you can just use plain water, but I like to cook it in stock to infuse something like quinoa or rice with more flavor. So that's what I'll do for like a fried rice sometimes, is cook the rice in chicken broth or vegetable broth, and then when you stir fry it, it really has great, great flavor.
Alex, thanks, buddy. I'm going to let you finish the rest of your lunch there. It was great to talk to you. All the best with your culinary future.
Thanks.
And Grace, thanks so much for stopping by. It's been an absolute delight. I'll give the final word to a couple of our viewers who have been watching online and commenting as we speak. Billy Runaway says, it takes a lot of elbow grease to make pasta dough, and then goes on to say, kid makes his own pasta? Okay, he can be my friend. You've got a new friend, Alex. Stay tuned. Plenty more coming up, of course, right here on HuffPost Live.